Hello, welcome to episode 398. We're doing multi-mode deployable mines, which are multiplayer friendly. We're in version 1.21. Okay, so I'm out and about in my map and I'm exploring. Oh, what's this? A minion, I can see you hiding over there. What are you up to? Yes, minions detonated the mine. Okay, so chuck another mine down, minion, so we can do a bit of demonstration purposes. Just throw one over there. There we go. So minion's got a mine. And I can put one down as well. There's my mine. Now, I can change the state of my mine. At the moment, it's in detonate mode, and I have to shift and right-click, and it will detonate my mine. Not minions, only mine. Detonates my closest mine. So if I had two, one there, and we have one, let's say over there. I'm targeting the closest one. Let's shift. Boom. And now this one's closest. Boom. Okay. But we can also switch the mode. So instead of having a detonate, we can have proximity. Now, if any player gets close to it, minion, boom, it blows up. If I get close to my own mine and it's in proximity mode, well, I'm still going to blow up. There we go. Okay, that's what we're going to be making today. Multi-mode, multiplayer, deployable mines. There's a lot of M's in there. We like alliteration. Okay, it's going to be a long one, so I think I'll stop waffling now, and we'll let's just get on and build it now. Okay, right, we are going to need some scoreboards, so let's pop them down first. Boink. Boink. Okay, this will be my setup. Right, I want to know if a player uses the carrot on a stick, so we'll do scoreboard, objectives, add. My brain is so slow. Used carrot on a stick, and that will be of type used colon carrot on a stick on a stick. Okay, that's one. I want each player to have an ID. Yeah, I do want the players to have an ID, so we better put an ID one down. Chain always active. So scoreboard, objectives, add ID. It's going to be a dummy. I'm going to control that one. I want to know when the player throws a mine onto the floor, or in our case, it's going to be grey dye. So let's do scoreboard, objectives, add thrown mine, and it'll be of type dropped grey dye. Chain always active. Okay, and I want a state. So this is going to be for the mine state, and I'm going to use it for me as well. My state, scoreboard, objectives, add state, dummy. Okay, let's make sure we press that button. Right, let's get rid of that. Let's make a mine controller. So we're going to throw the mine on the floor, and then with the controller we can switch it between proximity mode and detonate mode, and also with the controller we can detonate it. So let's give ourselves I'm just going to put give carrot on a stick because that's what it is. So I'm going to give the nearest player a carrot on a stick. And we want a load of stuff in here. We don't actually need that much. I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to give it some lore. And the only thing we actually need is custom data. But let's do item name equals, and let's apostrophe, open and close that. And then I'm going to lore equals, that's a list, and I think I want three things. So we have apostrophe, comma, apostrophe, comma, apostrophe, and in there we will have open and close curlies, open and close curlies, open and close curlies. Right, let's do the name. We will have some text. Let's go all out. Color and bold, true. So this one is going to be text. And it's going to be the mine controller. Next one is going to be the color. And we will do green. And the next one is going to be bold, true. Now it's not happy, probably because these were all empty. So let's fill these in. So we just need text. So let's do one in there. And if I just say text, and let's copy that. Copy. And let's paste it into our other two as well. One in there and one in there. Right, it's happy now. It knows what it's supposed to be doing. Let's put some text in. So our mine controller always targets your closest mine. The next piece will say right click to detonate. And let's have shift plus right click to toggle proximity mode. And right at the end, this is the only important bit. Custom data equals open and close curlies is mine controller. Okay, done. Let's give ourselves one of them. Let's have a look at it. Okay, I've got advanced tooltips on, so F3H, let's turn them on. Mine controller always targets your closest mine. Right click to detonate, shift and right click to toggle proximity mode. Cool. Okay. Shift F3 and H. Advanced tooltips back on. Right, let's give the player a mine. Give mine. We will give the nearest player some grey dye. Let's keep this one a little bit simpler to save some time. Item name equals. We'll do it full formatting style, but we won't use it. We'll just put mine. That'll do. And the important stuff, custom data equals. It's a mine item. That'll do. Okay, done. Let's have one of them. Mine. Yeah. So if I press F3 and H, I shouldn't bother turning them back on. It just says mine. Okay, cool. Next, let's press that again just to make double sure. Let's assign an ID to every single player. Assign player ID. Okay, set that on there, doesn't matter. We will execute as all players unless the score of that player, their ID equals that player's ID. So if they have any score, we're not going to do anything, but if it's null, we will do something. We will store result as a score into that player's ID, run scoreboard players, add. We need a fake player who we'll call ID holder. We'll add 1 to their ID. So now everyone is going to get their own separate ID. First player will be 1, second player will be 2, and so on. Done. That's already running, so I've probably got an ID given to me already now. Scoreboard, objectives, set display, sidebar, ID. I've got 1. Cool. Now let's do a controller for when the player is throwing the mine. Okay, right. Controller, we'll say throw. If we could spell the word throw. Okay. So we're going to want to check the first thing I want to check is, am I sneaking or am I sneaking and clicking on the... No, we don't want to do that now. We're throwing at the moment. So what we want to do is we want to tag. We want to tag the grey die. That's what we want to do. Okay. Let's tag the grey die when we throw it. So we'll execute as, let's see, any player whose scores equals, they have thrown a mine equals 1 or higher at that player as any entity, that doesn't say as, does it? As any entity whose type equals an item, whose sort equals nearest, if items entity at S contents, it's a grey die and it has custom data, contains mine item, unless, now we'll check that it hasn't already got an ID, score at S ID equals at S ID. So if it hasn't got an ID, then we'll run scoreboard players operation at S, which is currently the grey die, ID equals at any player, and we're executing at the player at the moment, so we can just do distance equals less than 0.1. We could put a limit on there if we wanted. Limit equals 1. ID. Done. Okay, well I'm just going to test that first. So let's get an ID back up on the side there, and let's throw a grey die. Okay, yeah, it's got my ID now. Cool. Okay. Let's get rid of that again. So we've given it an ID score. Now I can reset that I've thrown the mine. We don't care anymore because we'll use the ID to target that mine. So let's do scoreboard players reset all players whose scores equals thrown mine. Oh my, that's an interesting spelling. Thrown mine equals 1 or higher. Thrown mine. We've reset the thrown mine score. Done. Oh, chain always active. Let's get ourselves one of those blocks. There we go, so we don't have to keep changing it. Now what are we going to do? We want to... we will execute as any item that has an ID. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to execute as any item that has an ID. If it is a grey mine, and if it is on the ground, we will add a tag to it. So execute as any entity, type equals item, scores equals, so it's got an ID, so we'll say equals 0 or higher. Should never be 0 because the first player's ID should always be 1, but we'll say 0 or higher, as long as it's not null. That's the important thing we're doing there. If items entity at S contents. I don't know if we really need to do all this check again, because we've done this check already to check that it was grey die to give it the ID, but we'll keep the check in anyway. If it is grey die with custom data contains mine item, add itself if predicate open and close will have a condition, and it will be inverted. We'll have a term. Oops, sorry, we need some speech marks there. We'll have a term, open and close. In here, what predicate is going to be inverted? We'll have a condition. Condition would be entity properties. Which entity? This entity. Okay, and what will the predicate be? The predicate will be, are you stepping on a block? So we want stepping on. Let's go in there. And then we'll have a block. And then in here, we'll have a list of blocks. Blocks. Air. Are you stepping on air? Now we should have about 5 of them. Yeah, looks okay. And we'll run. Look at that. I got all that last bit right, and the easy word I got wrong. Run tag yourself add set mine. So the predicate's just checking if it's not on the air. Effectively, is it on the ground? So execute the item. It has an ID. It is grey dye with a custom data. It is on the ground, or in this case, it is not in the air. Tag it. Okay. They're done. Let's chuck one on the floor. Let's point at it. Can we get data, get entity? Will it give me the UID? No. Any entity, type equals item, sort equals nearest, limit equals 1. And we've got the tags, set mine. Okay, right at the end there we can see that tag. Cool. FTD. So it's got an ID, it's got a tag. Okay. Now, if we have tagged it, we will do this command. So we'll make this one conditional. What we want to do here now is create our little mine. So we will execute at any entity whose type equals an item, because it's the grey dye. Its tag equals set mine. Has to be on the ground because we don't want to set a mine in the air. We will run summon a block display at those coordinates with some information. So it's going to have some tags. How many tags? I'll tag everything just in case we need them later. So it's going to be part of the mine, and this is going to be the base of the mine. So mine base, that will do. And it will need a block state. Block state, open and close. Block state requires a name. I'm going to use a polished tough slab. That'll do. And I want some transformation information. Okay, now I've come outside of these brackets and I'm unsure which bracket I'm supposed to be in. So let's do a little check. Here we go. Block state. Open bracket, close bracket. So come out of the block state. Transformation. Okay, here we go. Left rotation. You'd think I'd be able to type this faster by now, the amount of times I've typed it. And we'll copy it all the way up to the left. Copy. And we'll type right, paste. Then we'll have a scale. Open and close, which we'll put to default for the moment. We are going to be changing the scale, and we have a translation. And if we're changing the scale, we'll want to change the translation as well, so we can keep it centered. Okay. Scale. I want it quite small. Let's just say half a block. Let's see what that looks like. So scale 0.5. I want it quite thin. Let's go a little bit smaller, 0.3. 0.5. So if we're 0.5 on the x for the scale, then to center it, our translation needs to be half of that and minus. So half of 0.5 is 0.25. So minus 0.25. Same for the z. Do we want to translate it down at all? No, they should be all right. Should be on the floor. Okay, let's do a little test and see what we get. Let's do that. Let's make sure we kill the die, though. Otherwise, we'll just keep setting hundreds of block displays. Well, 20 a second. So kill any entity. Type equals item. Tag equals set mine. Okay, let's just chuck that on the floor there. Cool, that's our little mine. Okay, I kind of like it. Yeah. We don't want it too dark. Yeah, cool. Obviously, you can change it to whatever block you want. Right, let's get myself a... Let's change this mine and let's just put 64 on the end. Because also I'm throwing these, so even in creative I lose them. And let's get rid of that. Kill any entity. Type equals block display. Okay, now let's stay in here and let's give it some passengers. So we'll want to come out of the transformation information, bump, and we'll give it a passenger. Passengers, there we go. Brain took a real pause there. Open and close. We're going to have one passenger. That passenger is going to have some tags. Open and close square. So we want probably two. Keep doing that now. There we go. So it's going to be part of the mine. So mine. And it's going to be the mine. Well, the other one was the base. Let's say this is the top. That'll do. Let's come out of tags, but stay inside passengers. We'll need a block state. Block state, which requires a name. Let's do a redstone block, so we'll have a little red light on the top of it. And now we're going to want some transformation, so come out of block state, transformation. No, open and close curlies. Left. Now, did I keep the paste or the copy paste bit? Oh, I did, look at that. Although we've got one too many of those, so we've got left rotation. Now let's come out of left rotation. There we go. But stay inside transformation. We'll have a right rotation. We're going to have a scale, which we'll put as default for the moment. And we'll have translation, which again we'll have as default for the moment. Okay, so I want a tiny little light on top of it. So it's going to be pretty small. Let's do 0.1. Let's keep it square. So 0.1, 0.1. That's going to be a little bit. Let's do 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. So to center this, half of 0.1 is 0.05. So we need minus 0.05 or 0.95. I use them interchangeably. 0.05 and 0.05. And translation, I think we're going to have to lift it up a little bit. Let's try, just a tiny little bit. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's try, let's test. We can always test because we can always change things. So let's chuck one down. Well, clearly we've made, did we tell it what block to be? I'm sure we did. Can we do a count for block displays? Execute as any entity whose type equals block display, run, say hi. There's only one. Okay, so we've obviously made a mistake. Oh, this is going to be a hard one to debug, isn't it? So let's go to passengers. Passengers is definitely a capital P, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it is. So we're opening passengers. We'll do each bit at a time. Open passenger. Passenger has a tag. Open tags. Mine top. Close tags. Okay, that seems all right. Then we're going to have, we haven't told it that the passenger is a block display. We've just gone straight to block state. We've not even told it to be a block display. So ID, that's probably the problem, block display. There we go. Yeah, we got a little mine with a red button on top. Pew, 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 pew. Cool, okay. That's great, let's get rid of those. Right, that's all going well. Now, what do I want to do? I need to give it an ID, because at the moment, that mine is not mine. The mine does not know who it is. So let's get this delete, and we'll just move this along 2 blocks. So we'll take it out, 1 block, 2 blocks. There we go. Check we still got the command in there. Yes, we have. Because what we want to do is we want to set the ID of the mine, so it knows it belongs to me, and we want to set its initial state. So here, and we'll make this, if this runs, yeah, we'll make this conditional. So ID, copying the ID. So we'll copy the ID from the die, since the die is right there. Okay, so that makes most sense. So we'll execute as any entity whose type equals item, tag equals set mine at itself, as any entity whose type equals block display and tag equals mine. We'll tag both parts of it, or we'll set the ID onto both parts. So this will do the mine base and the mine top. Sort equals nearest, so we've put a limit equals 2, unless it already has an ID. So unless score at SID equals at SID. If it doesn't have an ID, we're going to run scoreboard. What on earth is that spelling? Players. And then it'll be an operation. At S, your ID will equal any entity whose type equals item, whose tag equals set mine. And remember, we're still executing at the grey die, so all we'd have to do here is say distance equals less than 0.1. We could probably limit that as well if we wanted. ID. Okay. Done. So that should copy the ID to it. Let's do a check. So let's get this block here, and we'll put it back on the end. Yeah. Okay. Let's display the ID score. ID, so there's me, my ID, and we should end up with, yeah, so we've got 3 IDs. One is obviously me, one is going to be the base, and one is going to be the little light. Okay, that seems good. Let's get rid of the ID score. Let's kill all block displays. Okay, and let's control mill mouse, put that on the end, check the command is still in there, yep. Let's get a fresh one. Okay, so we've set the ID, and now I'm going to set its default state. So we will execute as any entity type equals block display, tag equals mine base. We'll just set the state on the base, unless score at S state equals at S state. So unless it's already got a state, so if its state is 0 or 1, we're not going to do anything, but if its state is null, then we are going to run, I don't know where my cursor went, just flew away, scoreboard players set at S state to 0, set the state to 0. We'll make that conditional, or not, there we go, conditional. I think we could probably make this one conditional as well. Let's try. There we go. Okay, let's throw it down. We've got our little mine. It's got the ID. That seems good. Let's check state. It's got a state of 0. Okay, cool. So the mine is on the floor. It knows it belongs to me because it's got my ID. And it knows that it is currently in state 0. Whatever that means. We're going to use the state in a minute. Okay, cool. So we can place mines. Let's get rid of that. And let's kill those there. Cool. Right, so I suppose the next thing we want to do is do a little bit of tidy up on the inventory. There we go. We want to be able to control that mine. So let's make a controller. So that's the controller for throwing. This is going to be the controller for the mine controller. It's going to be the controller. What a silly name. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to know, am I sneaking? Have I used my carrot on a stick? Or am I doing both? So I'm going to use that state objective. I'm going to say state players reset any player whose scores equals, whose state equals 1 or higher, reset their state. So now I know my state is null. I have no state value. And now I'm going to execute as any player whose scores equals used COAS, used carrot on a stick equals 1 or higher. If items entity S weapon main hand is a carrot on a stick. Well, we're pretty sure it's going to be a carrot on a stick because we've just got the score, used carrot on a stick. But what we're doing here is we're checking to make sure they're using the special carrot on a stick. We don't want them using any old one. Custom data contains, and what did we call it? Mine controller. Not a mind controller, a mine controller. So if they are, we will run scoreboard players add that player state 1. So if I use the special carrot on a stick, my state will get set to 1. Done. Now let's make another one. In fact, let's go in here, let's go home, and let's just copy this beginning bit rather than type it out again. Copy. Execute as anyone who's used a carrot on a stick. If predicate, open and close, we'll have a condition. Condition will be entity properties. Now we'll have to say which entity. Entity will be this. So that's who it's executing at. And then we'll need a predicate. Predicate will be I'm checking if I'm sneaking, aren't I? So we're going to check a flag. So we're checking flags. And in here we're going to be checking true. In here we're going to be checking is, I'm sure it's got the underline, is sneaking true. Then we'll run scoreboard players add S state 1. So what this is going to do, I don't know why the doorbell's going off. You might not be able to hear it. I can. It's so loud. Always happens when I try and record stuff. It's so annoying. So we're resetting the state. If we use the carrot on a stick and it's the special one, we add 1 to the state. If we are sneaking after using a carrot on a stick, we add 1 to the state. So when we get here, we're going to have a state of 1 if we've used the carrot on a stick, and we're going to have a state of 2 if we've used the carrot on the stick and we're sneaking. So now we can use those as our control options. What are we doing? Are we doing state 1 or state 2? Okay. Now we will execute as all players whose scores equals state equals 1. Not 1 or higher, just 1. As that entity whose type equals block display. How am I going to get my closest mine? Tag equals mine base positioned as any entity. Are we okay? Execute as. Could I just do at S there? Okay, so execute as any player whose scores equals state 1 at that player as a block display if score equals at S, if score at S ID equals any player. Is this right? So if the mine base's score equals any player within a distance of less than 0.1, limit equals 1, and it equals their ID, then run tag at S, what should we add? Change state. Oops, we should say add. Let's go through that. So execute as any player with a state of 1. So I've used my carrot and a stick, but I'm not crouching. At that player as any type block display mine base. If our scores match, add change state. So that should add change state to all of my mines. They should all say change state. Now I only want to get the closest one. So let's go here and do execute as all players scores equals state equals 1 at S as any entity whose type equals block display whose tag equals change state. Okay, is that a full stop? Oh, it's because we've put as any entity whose type equals block display, tag equals change state. We only want the nearest one. Sort equals nearest, limit equals 1. And then what are we going to do to it? We want to flip its state. So if its state is 0, we want it to become 1. If its state is 1, we want it to become 0. Flip, flip, flip. So we will store success as a score on that entity, its state, if score, that entity's state, matches 0. So that should be flicking its state backwards and forwards. Done. I think it's time for a test. So we're going to have to remove the change state tag. So let's do tag any entity whose type equals block display, tag equals change state. Remove change state. Done. And I'll have to reset my used carrot on a stick score. So we'll also do scoreboard players reset for all players whose scores vanishing cursor again. Scores equals used COAS equals 1 or higher. Reset their used COAS. Done. Okay, so we're going to move these two. I think we've got enough to check here, though. F3D. Let's check a mine down. So we're checking the state. So let's get state on the sidebar. So its state is 0. Right, if I am shifting and right-clicking, nothing should happen. You can see my state just flashing. That's my state just flashing to 2 and getting reset. Okay, but if I'm not shifting, aha, there we go. We've reset him to 1, 0, and you can see my state flashing up at 1. Okay, so we're changing that one. What if we've got 2? Now he's closest, and I believe he is the top one, ending in 2, 4. 2, 4 is now 1. 2, 4 is now 0. 2, 4 is 1, 0. Okay, what if we go over here? This one should be the one ending in EF. EF is now 1. EF is now 0. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, let's get rid of the state off the sidebar. That bit seems to be working. And let's kill those little mines we've got there. Okay. Right. Let's turn it off for the moment. And let's take these 2 blocks. This one, that is removing the change state, and this one, that is resetting the COAS. So that's going to go right at the very end of the line. This one we're going to do in a minute. So change state, go away. Reset COAS, go away. Okay, now if I do change state, I want something visual so we know that the state has changed. So that's why I'm going to change that little light on top. So let's do that. So we can execute we'll execute at any entity, type equals block display, tag equals change state, scores equals state equals, I suppose, 0, as any entity whose type equals block display, whose tag equals mine top, whose sort equals nearest, whose limit equals 1. We will run data merge into the entity at S. I want to change your block state. I want to change your block state. There we go. Oh my, there we are, block state. And so if it's 0, that's what it is at the moment. So default was the redstone block, wasn't it? So if it's 0, redstone block. But done. I'm going to control middle mouse, copy that, stick it down again. And let's have a different color block. Emerald. And we're just going to change the state. So if state equals 1. 1. Done. Let's get rid of these 3. Let's get the reset the change state tag, reset the use carrot and stick, and put them back on the end. And then we'll just go and put them here as well. Keep them out of the way. Yep. Yep. Get rid of those. Right, let's turn that back on. Chuck your little mine. Chuck another little mine. Okay. Mine controller. Ooh. Right click, right click. Nice. And you? Okay, so we've got 2 different modes. We've got this mode, and we've got this mode, this mode, this mode, this mode. Now, so we've got right click to change mode. I think that's what it says, isn't it? Always targets your closest mine. Right click to detonate. Shift right click to toggle proximity mode. Okay. So, we're not actually detonating it, are we? We might need to change those. We'll keep going with what we've got. I think shift right click to detonate makes more sense because you have to do more. Let's change that. In fact, let's not bother because we should change it. We should change it, shouldn't we? Let's change it. Let's get rid of that. and we'll just come over here, give COAS. So we'll change this to Shift plus right click to detonate and right click to change to toggle mode. Shift from right click to detonate, right click to toggle proximity mode. Okay. Right, so, well, we can't detonate it yet, so I suppose we need to make us be able to detonate it. Let's remove these. Now, change state we're going to keep. We've finished doing change state, so we'll leave that one there. Used COAS. We could reset it now. I'm going to put it on the end. So, change state. Let's get rid of you. And let's get rid of you. Used COAS. In fact, we could have reset that right down here, because I don't think we've used it since. Anyway, let's do a state check to see what state I'm in. Am I in state 2? Am I shifting and using the carrot on a stick? Execute as all players whose scores equals state equals 2. I am shifting and using my carrot stick as any entity whose type equals block display. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select all of my mines and tag them, and then I'm going to find the nearest tagged mine. Type equals block display. Tag equals mine base. Positioned. Actually, I don't need to do position. We can just do that here. Execute as all players at that player. There we go. As block display, tag equals mine base. If score at S ID equals any player whose distance equals less than 0.1, limit equals 1, ID, then run tag yourself, add explode check. So that's going to tag all of my mines with the tag explode check. We'll just go to the beginning and we'll copy this first bit because we're going to use it again. Copy, paste that in there. S. Now I think what I want to do is I want to tag the closest one. We're not switching its state, so we don't need to flick anything. We've got to find the closest one, and then we want to play a sound. We want to do an explosion. We want to hurt the player. So let's tag it. So we can just go straight to run tag any entity. Type equals block display. Tag equals explode check. Source equals nearest. Limit equals 1. Somewhere in there you've made a mistake. We've got a block display. Block display. Limit equals 1. And add the tag explode me. Okay. That seems alright. Now, I don't think we're going to have to reset the explode check and explode me tags because we're going to blow the thing up. So we're not going to worry about resetting them later. So let's just blow the thing up. Let's execute at any entity whose type equals a block display, whose tag equals explode me. I don't know how I managed to do that. Look at that, awful. Execute at type block display, tag equals explode me, end, run, and I'm just going to copy that because we're going to use it again. Well, we want a sound, so let's play sound. What's the explosion sound? Entity, generic, can you explode? That's got to be it. Explode. Let's play it on the master channel. You can pick your own channel. Master channel. For all players at those coordinates, full volume, normal pitch, minimum volume is 0. Done. Okay, so if you do, we can make this conditional. If you do the particle, then, no, if you do the sound, then do a particle. Particle. What am I doing? Particle. I feel actually that I might make this unconditional, just in case the sound doesn't work. We still want the particle. Explosion at those coordinates. Let's lift it up a bit so it's not right in the floor. 0.3 would be a good size. A little bit of speed, 0.2 for the speed, and let's have quite a bit, 100 for the particle count. Done. And then we'll put that in again, execute a type box display, tag equals explode, take away the run, as any player whose distance equals, so if they're within, let's say they're within 3 blocks of it, then we will run damage that player for 3 hearts, so 6. It'll be explosion damage, I suppose. Can we put by an entity whose tag equals explode me? I don't know if this really does anything, but there we go. That's who's doing the damage. Why not say? There we go. So that should hurt the player that's near it. Now we have to get rid of the mine. If we don't get rid of the mine, ouch. So again, execute a type block display, tag equals explode me, run, kill any entity, type equals block display, tag equals mine, sort equals nearest, and there's the top and the bottom, so limit equals 2. Are done, and let's just pop the used carrot on the stick on the end. Just in case you've forgotten what that is, that's me resetting my used carrot on a stick score. Okay, let's have a look. So we can throw it, we can change its state. I don't know which state is which, and we can blow it up. Now, if it's in state 1, let's say that's dangerous. So red is dangerous. That's primed. If I go near that, that's proximity. We don't want to go near that. And if I shift and right click, boom, we've blown it up. Okay. Now, what about actually doing the controller to actually do the proximity bit? Sorry, my brain is just completely turning off. I was thinking, do we want to make this so it doesn't blow up? I think if we've got 2 mines, so this is danger, proximity. This one, let's set this one to green. Green means I have to detonate it. But what if we had it this way round? So this one is proximity and this one's set to trigger. Now if I do it now, it's going to blow this one up. I don't think a proximity mine should detonate. I think we should, yeah, let's make it so it doesn't detonate in proximity mode. Okay, so all we have to do is do a state check somewhere where we're adding the explode me tag. Where we add explode me, here we go. So if we go in here, and we'll execute as me in state 2, we've tagged our block displays with explode check. Sort nearest, limit 1. Let's put here scores equals state equals 0. Have I done it round the right way? Done. So you detonated, you didn't. So I can change your state. If you're in green, it seems like we've got green is proximity mode. There we go. Okay, green is proximity mode. Red is detonate mode. So if I right click by itself, turn it to green, and now I shift and right click, nothing happens. It won't blow up because it's set to proximity mode. If I stand up, set it into detonate mode, shift, detonate. Okay, that's good. Now we've got 2. We'll set the closest one to proximity. And now if I detonate, we should detonate this one. Shift. Cool. Okay. And let's blow this one up as well. Right, let's do the proximity check. Now, I am not going to care whose mine it is. If you go near a mine that is in proximity mode, it's going to blow up. Doesn't matter if it's your mine. They're not super smart. They don't sort of say, oh, that's my owner coming, I better not explode. It's just, no, it's going to blow up. So this will be the proximity check controller. So we'll execute as any entity whose type equals block display, whose tag equals mine base, who's got to be in proximity mode. So scores equals state equals 1. They're in proximity mode. At itself, if entity, any player is within a distance of less than 3 blocks, then, well, we just give it the explode me tag and the other controller will take over. So run tag yourself, add explode me. Yeah, okay, so this is only going to detonate for players within a distance of 3. Now, I suppose what we could do is entities within a distance of 3, and that's now going to blow up entities. It might be a bit of a harsh check, though. I don't know what that's going to do for performance, checking all of those entities. So you may want, if you're using a data pack, you might want to put in a list. Can we do type equals and then a list? Yeah, there we go. So obviously you probably wouldn't want to do check all the aquatic stuff, for instance. So you could make your own list. Okay. We are just going to do it for players, though, for this demonstration. There you go. Because you can change your selector. You can change that bit to whatever you want. Done. Okay, so let's throw the mine. Now, this makes sense, because by default, it's not in proximity mode. So that's pretty good. As we're running away, we can throw a mine down and whack it in proximity mode in case someone is chasing us. So 3 blocks. Let's go into survival. My full health, okay. Ow. You might want to change the range, up to you. So that's not proximity. We just right click, change it to proximity. Ooh. See, 3 seems a bit big to me, but you can play with that number. Okay, we've got loads. Change that one. Cool. So it's definitely working. I think we're pretty much done. Yeah. So let's get out of this mode. Creative mode. So here is where we're checking how close the player is to it. That's pretty simple. You can change that number to whatever you like. So if you wanted to be really cruel, you could make it huge, or you could make it smaller. And then, depending on the size of that, you probably want to change the range as well. So here we have, so that's just the sound. We'd keep that the same. You might want to change this bit to make the explosion a little bit bigger. At the moment we've got it 0.3. You could make that bigger there. Cancel. And you might want to change, here we go, distance 3 for where we're doing the damage. So this distance 3 should probably be the same as this. Well, I don't know actually. Maybe you have to be within 1 block of the mine, but when it explodes, it still damages everyone within 3 blocks. Up to you. You can fiddle with the numbers however you want. It's your map. I'm going to set this back to my default of 3 and stop waffling because I think we've been here quite a long time and we're pretty much done. Let's just do one more. Let's just do one more. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I do like it. Boop, and Oh, are we in the wrong mode? There we go. Detonate mode. Has to be red. Has to be in detonate mode. Ooh, proximity mode. Cool. Okay. Oh, waffle. Right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.